All right. Good evening, all. Hope everyone's doing well. Welcome to episode number 74 of Axanar Confidential at our new time of 10 o'clock, which all the other streams are 10 o'clock. You know, we had originally done Axanar Confidential at 9 o'clock, and we did it at 9 o'clock through the first 73 episodes. But I was like, look, we do all the other streams at 10 o'clock, Starfleet Tactical on Saturdays, and Axanar After Dark. So it just makes sense to move it, especially it's a Friday. Little later is better, unless you go out on Friday nights. So we decided, hey, let's move it to 10 o'clock. Then everyone knows it's always 10 o'clock. And I don't have to keep saying 10 o'clock unless it's Friday, and then it's 9 o'clock. So a lot happened today. Today was a big day. I hope you're all doing well. But before we get to the big news, and we've got Mark Edward Lewis coming in here, who I'm looking forward to chatting with. Let's talk about some goodness. Let's see if I have it up. Yeah, I have it up. Let me close these windows here. Okay. Yeah, let me make sure I get that. I'm going to share this with you. Okay, so let's do the first thing that we're going to share is just some fun, a little goodness, a little fun. Here is, as we talk about all the time, here is the latest email from 1612. Okay, 1612, as many of you know, makes the Eagle models that are back there, make all sorts of cool Jerry Anderson-inspired ships, right? And ship models, and 12-inch Eagles, 22-inch Eagles. I mean, just great stuff. So they announced here's their new episode collection releases. Okay, so Earthbound just came out. Here is what's coming up. The Dragon's Domain has the Eagle transporter with the new tooling to feature the detachable beak, and the Ultra Probe. So you're going to get both the Eagle that detaches, and you're going to get the Ultra Probe. So that's a pretty cool set. And then we've got, let's see. So that's the Dragon's Domain episode. And then War Games. So War Games is, you get the Battle Damaged Eagle, which I guess is this one here. Right? And you get a Hawk. All right. And this is with the red coloring. Now, what's interesting is the red coloring was put on at the last minute because they thought it looked too much like the Eagle, right? And so that's why. But it's actually going to be available in the original, the way it was delivered to set, which was an all-white version. So the War Games set will have the Eagle and a Hawk, okay? And but you're also going to be able to get the Hawk by itself here, with the all white paint scheme. So it looks just like an Eagle paint scheme wise, right? Oh my God. I just keep saying, like, I need 3 of those Hawks so I can fly them in formation, right? They're just so cool. But so that's all coming, pre-order on 2nd of October. So there you go. That's what's coming from 1612 to break the bank and cripple your wallet. So yeah, so that's there you go. That's what's coming from 1612. Hey, hello, everyone who's joining us now. Welcome. So hope you are all doing well. We're waiting for Mark Edward Lewis to come in. Let me give you this link too. So and let's see if Lee is on the ball here. Okay, so the big news is, which doesn't affect anything. I got a couple pieces of big news. First, let's do the good thing, the fun thing first. And you hear it here first. We have a new director. As many of you know, I fired Paul Jenkins back in June for reasons I'm not going to discuss, because today we filed a lawsuit against Paul Jenkins and Meta Studios for numerous. The main charge was trade slander. And I don't take these things lightly, but when you put out a press release like he put out, you're asking for trouble. As I've told you, I offered him a very amicable settlement. Let's go our separate ways. We're just going to talk positively of each other. You're too busy, clearly, to do the work. Let's just say you're too busy with other projects, and we all move on. They came back in a very nasty way and said no, and they just wanted, this is a fan film. I don't know what the problem is. We're just talking about a fan film here. This is not a money-making project. This is not, I don't know what they hope to gain. I don't care. But discussions with my lawyer, I've agreed that we're not going to talk about it. So from now on, if you're interested in learning about what's happening in the lawsuit, you can go here. We have created a legal archive where you can download the relevant legal documents. And so today we have up there, you can download the complaint that we filed today. Today we filed the complaint, and I get it was out for service. So that's it. So I'm really not going to talk about the lawsuit. It doesn't affect our production at all, and the donors aren't paying for it. I'm paying for it. So there it is. If you want to read about it, read our complaint. I actually urge you to read our complaint. I think it will. It's basically addresses everything that's happened so far and why we're doing what we're doing. I got a great lawyer. He's awesome. He's fired up. He's ready to go to war. And I wish we could have just parted ways as friends and said nice things the way I offered, but they slapped my hand away and said whatever they said. I don't know what they, so there you go. So I'll let you know when new documents go up. But there you go. Go and read the complaint. Okay. It's short too. It's really not a long complaint. It's really very easy to read. It's detailed, but it's very easy to read. So a layman can read it and go, "Oh, I get it. Yeah, I understand." Trade slander per se is the violation, and it is basically when you question my integrity and my honesty. That in itself is slander. It's on its face. It's slander. I don't have to prove anything. It is called slander, trade slander per se. So that's what we've filed a lawsuit for. Has no effect on Axanar whatsoever. So let's talk to the good news. Good news is we have a new director. And that new director, many of you know, is woohoo! Axanar forever. Thank you so much, Logic's finest. The new director is Ted Brunetti. Ted Brunetti is a very famous acting coach who has worked with everyone from, he was James Gandolfini's acting coach, and he was years ago, I guess 20 years ago, he told me, 25 years ago. Ted's probably in his mid-50s now. But Ted was hired to coach George C. Scott and Jack Lemmon in the National Touring Company of Inherit the Wind. Okay, so that's how good an acting coach Ted is. Ted is also the nicest, most decent guy. No nonsense. He's just a nice, decent guy who loves what he does. You should all know that Rob Pralgo, who plays Captain April, and is a very well-known actor here in Atlanta. Matter of fact, I was watching The Blind Side, with Sandra Bullock about the football player, and he played the assistant coach for one of the schools, Alabama or something. And it was funny. I just came in, Crystal was watching, I sat down, and I just sat down right in the scene just as Rob's walking in the room. And I'm like, oh my God, that's Rob. So, I mentioned Rob's name, not just because he plays Captain April for us, but Rob knows Ted Brunetti. Rob studied with Ted Brunetti a little bit. And Rob Pralgo loves Ted Brunetti. He is so excited to work with Ted. So that's really great news. And that kind of shows you what we've got. We've got a guy who's worked with actors for 30 years, who is trained by one of the best acting coaches in history, Uta Hagen, and Howard Fine, one of the best acting coaches in probably one of the top 3 acting coaches in the country, who I was fortunate enough to study with back in 2012, 2013. Howard's a disciple of Uta Hagen as well. Well, thank you, Jerry Griffith, who says, well, I hope this goes well for you. Prelude to Axanar has been the best 30 minutes of Trek I've seen since the end of the Enterprise and anything that has come out of CBS. Thank you very much, sir. We appreciate that comment. We like to, yes, we think so too. we think we're pretty damn good. But listen, we're gonna. I think one of the things, and this is one of the things that. Well, let's see. Where is Mark? Let's send him a minute. One of the things that oh, hold on, let me also just be because he has not contacted me. So anyway, Uta Hagen is a legend, and Ted worked for her. Wasn't just a student, but literally was her right hand for a number of years. Yes, I can't listen. Yes, I agree, and that's why I have one of George C. Scott's costumes from Patton downstairs. Yeah, so I do love that movie. I do love that movie. So Ted will be on next Friday on Axanar Confidential. I gave him a bunch of homework to do. He's really concerned you guys are going to ask him like Star Trek trivia. Oh, there's Mark. Hold on. Mark, take your time. I'm pontificating. So adding Ted Brunetti, let me tell you, adding Ted Brunetti as director now, Ted and I talked this morning because I had this conversation with Mark Edward Lewis, which is one of the things we're going to talk about tonight. And oh, that's okay, guys. It's okay. I've got all three dogs under. Three of our dogs, the three brown and tans, under my desk here. Itty Bitty got spayed yesterday, so she's kind of annoyed. It's wearing, rather than the cone of shame, we got one of those inflatable collars, so she can't lick her wound. But they're all under the desk here, and a couple of them hate the lightning. So my apologies. So my discussions with Mark Edward Lewis, I said, okay, look. You're welcome, Gary Pemberton. Thank you very much. You're very welcome. So what I listen, we've shot about of the live action, we've shot, maybe half. We're reshooting a bunch of stuff. Not that we have to. We're using all the footage, despite what Paul Jenkins said. We are able to use all the footage we shot. He has no claim over any of it. So we're in a unique situation, and I said, look, I'm not bringing in a director at this point who's going to, it seems like every director wants to take over the project. And despite me saying, no, this is a TV show, this is not a movie. I'm the showrunner, you're the director, you're coming in to direct, and that's it. Do your job and move on. And doing your job seems to be a problem. So what I've done, what I've decided to do is take Axanar, and we have this amazing resource in Ted Brunetti. This is a guy that everyone will love working. Oh, and let me add Mark. There's Mark. How are you doing, Mark?
Yeah, sorry about the confusion. I'm glad.
Don't worry, dude. I've been telling everyone about, I just started to talk about Ted Brunetti.
Oh, good.
So it's good you're here. So what we decided, what Mark and I talked about, and here's the great thing about Mark is that Mark's been with me since the beginning of this project. We should show you the fun, if you go back and watch the original Ask video, the original.
It's so cool.
It's so good. It is. It really is good. It's funny to watch it and again and
with
see
Ryan, everybody.
Ryan was great. Hey, yeah. Christian was good. It was really well done. So ever since then, Mark's been with me. So Mark's someone I can talk to and share everything, and he knows the ups and the downs, and he knows all the personalities. Kind of like even more than Bing, because Mark has really works. Did we lose? Oh, we lost Mark. That wasn't me, was it?
Back.
Yep. Sorry. I don't know. Anyway, so we've talked about it, and I was telling everyone about Ted Brunetti and how amazing he is. Listen, Ted Brunetti's the guy that it doesn't matter what actor in Hollywood you get. You put Ted Brunetti on set, and they feel like they're dealing with a peer. If Ted Brunetti is good enough to coach James Gandolfini and George C. Scott and Jack Lemmon, he's good enough to coach whoever. So, and he's just the nicest guy. The actors will love working with him. So I was mentioning Mark. Rob Pralgo, who's our Robert April, has worked with Ted Brunetti and loves him. He's ecstatic about the opportunity to work with him again.
Great.
So what Mark and I talked about was, look, we've got all this footage here. We know about this story. We've worked together. We've worked with our VFX team. We know all the pieces. And I'm not bringing some other director in who wants to, have an expansive view of what his role is in this production. The beauty of Ted is, and I talked to Ted today, and I said, Ted, we need you to bring out great performances. Choose your selects. I said, you're welcome to be on every editing session with Mark and I, because we're going to do it over Zoom. I said, you're welcome to sit. I know the space battle stuff isn't your thing. Don't worry. That's Mark and I are going to work with the VFX team on this. I said, it's going to be a true collaborative effort. Everyone plays to their strengths, and we come out with a product that we all think is amazing. And he was like, great, that works great for me. He's totally fired up. So, and that keeps Ted doing the things that Ted is great at, which is performance, right? And so there you go. So Tiffany says, where did you get the inflatable collar we need for our cat? The little bigger can escape the cone. Yeah. PetSmart, Petco or PetSmart. Either of them have them. We've got a really cute one that's kind of like, it's almost like the collars you get at the airport for sleeping, right? It's kind of like that. So so Petco or PetSmart, either of those, Tiffany, you can get the collar. We're talking about my dog. One of my dogs was spayed yesterday.
Oh,
Mark. So yeah. So I was not touching buttons when Mark disappeared.
It was me. I hit the wrong button.
Say thank you. Yeah, everyone wants to blame Alec, even for dumping Mark Edward Lewis. So Logic's Finest says, Mark, who was the first navigator on screen in the pilot episode? Just jokes. I won't ask any. He's just trying. He's being funny because I said that Ted Brunetti's coming on next Friday for Axanar Confidential, and he's worried that the fans are going to ask him Star Trek trivia. And I told Ted, I said, no, Ted. I said, they're going to want to know, have you seen Prelude, and what's your favorite Star Trek, and who's your favorite captain? Right. That's about it.
Besides, the answer to that is 42.
Yeah. 47. Adam Vera, $5 super chat. Can't wait to see Mr. Lewis. Well, you're seeing him right now. That's Mark Edward Lewis. There you go.
Here's me making you money, Axanar.
Yeah. So let's see so there you go. So that's kind of the direction we're going, and that's why I brought Mark on tonight to talk about it. Some of you may have seen Mark the other night. We brought him. He came on to Axanar After Dark and talked a little bit. But so, Mark, you've moved across the country.
Mm-hmm.
You've moved from Los Angeles, where you've lived for how long?
Let's see. I'm 49 years old, so that'd be 48 years.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I spent some time in London, and that was about it.
Wow. All right, so this is a big change. So moving to this. So Mark, and where have you moved?
About south of Nashville, outside of a town called Columbia.
Very cool. It seems like every southern state has a Columbia. There's Columbia, Georgia, or is it Columbus, Georgia? I think it's Columbus, Georgia.
Columbus. But Columbia, was the first naval ship that circumnavigated. It's the first American naval ship that circumnavigated the globe. That's
really?
Right.
I did not know that.
That's why Disney named the ship that goes around the little boat there the Columbia.
Ah, okay. That's all right. That's interesting. Well, what kind of ship was it?
Was
it a sailing ship or was it a?
No, it was I think it was like a 14 gun, whatever that was. It wasn't a sloop. It was.
Okay. We'll do it.
Someone's going to know that.
We'll do the Wikipedia thing on this. So very cool. How do you like the South so far?
I love it. I mean, both my wife and I love this here. Hey, Rose. And we've wanted to move here for some time. It just hasn't really worked out. And then COVID became an excellent opportunity because when you, it's not far from Spring Hill, Scott. Exactly. That's where we do a lot of our shopping. And, when you get on a plane to fly from Los Angeles to Nashville in April of 2020, it's you and the crew and nobody else on the plane. It's like chartering your own 737. And you just fly and you land. LAX is like some bad, apocalyptic movie. There's nobody there.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, it was great. So, we got a house out here and we're very happy.
Good. Well, that's the other. I was telling people the big news. The happy news today was that we sold our house today.
Oh, congratulations. That's great
Thank
news.
You. Yesterday, Crystal signed the paperwork to buy a house in Monroe. So we are actually moving close to Dana Wagner. We'll be 10 minutes away from Dana Wagner, who, of course, is the bridge guru, construction coordinator, IPA taster, the guy who built his own house and has the most amazing.
And that house is amazing.
Isn't it great?
Amazing.
Oh, God, well, listen, when hoping if you come down for the Atlanta shoot, we'll have our wrap party at his basement again.
I'm just going to stay at Dana's. Doesn't matter what happens.
Yeah, you're
forget the hotel. I'm just going to stay at Dana's.
I don't blame you, man. That place, it's amazing. It is.
Stuff.
Yeah, and some of you, we'll do another wrap party video from his basement. It's just it's amazing. It's beautiful. He did all the work himself. Tile work, brick work, woodwork. It's just, I can barely hold a screwdriver, and that guy is just amazing. So anyway, Crystal bought a house down in Monroe. It's new construction, and it's great because it has a big backyard. So we're going to fence it in and be able to just open the screen door and let the dogs go out. And
that's great.
Not going to have to worry about walking them, and are they on a leash or not on a leash? Because with 4 dogs, it's like, we don't put them on a leash. We just let them out,
Yeah, for sure.
You let them. They know not to go. They stay in her. But anyway, so that's that. So Crystal's buying a house because it's in the country, literally. So they have the USDA has a mortgage program to encourage people to move out into the country.
Okay.
And it's zero down, like some ridiculous percentage, like under 3%.
Do you mean USDA or you mean FHA?
No, USDA. And I don't know if that's the United States Dairy Association or whatever the hell it is, but so the FHA is 3.5% down.
Mm-hmm.
You have to be a first-time home buyer, 3.5% down.
Mm-hmm.
USDA is you only need a 640 credit score, less than $80,000 a year. You can't earn more than $80,000 a year.
Wow.
And it's zero down, whatever the current interest rate.
And what's the interest rate?
I think it's 2.75.
Wow, crazy.
I know.
Why doesn't everybody buy a house?
I don't. Well, so this is what we're doing. So she's buying a house, right? Because it was like, actually, we couldn't buy the house together because we wouldn't qualify. So it's like, oh yeah, she's buying the house. And then right down the road is another development that I really liked, kind of more country farmhouse style, really nice. And so I like that one. And the one that Crystal's moving into, you can't choose any upgrades. You can't, like, they have carpet, and we're like, we don't want carpet. We want hardwoods over. No, can't do it. You got to take the carpet.
Oh.
I'm like, what? Just put what? We'll pay for it. No, can't do it. So that kind of pissed me off. Anyway, the new place that I'm looking at has you choose, it's just typical. What upgrades you want? You pay for them all, but you can get whatever. You can literally get a 3rd-car garage. Oh, you want to put a 3rd car garage? We'll attach it to the outside of your house. and they're letting me pick my lot and pick my style house and then design it from scratch. And they're like, "Oh yeah, you want a basement too?" She's like, "These 4 lots we can add a basement to." I said, "Well, what about this lot?" And she said, "They might be able to do that. Let me ask them." So anyway, so we're moving into her house, and then we'll see. And then I'm going to buy a house too. But anyway, and then we're looking for land to build the studio. That's the big thing.
Of course.
The goal is to get some land. 6 to 8 acres is the sweet spot, and build the studio. So we'll see. We will keep you guys posted. But yeah, so that was the big news. So we sold this house today, and they were like, "Oh, we'll close on September 3rd," which also is my 60th birthday. And we're like, "September 3rd? That's like 2 weeks from now. No way."
I forgot you were a September. I'm a September 14. I forgot we were in that same
another
zone.
Virgo. Oh,
yeah.
All right. That explains a lot.
That explains a lot.
Yeah. So anyway, so that was that's it. That was big. And you know, the nice thing about also selling this house is those houses are a lot cheaper out there. And what's weird is those houses, because they're in the country, are like $100,000 less than this house, and they have like twice the land that this house has. Easily.
Well, don't tell me about that. I went from LA, where I was paying $2,000 a month for a 1,500 square foot, 3-bedroom, 2-bath house with a 50-foot lot, to a house that is 5 acres, 4,300 square feet, 5 bedrooms, 4 baths.
Oh my God!
For the same price.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
It's right. At some point, you say, "Just living in California, you just can't justify it." Plus, your quality of life is where you are. I mean, I bet it's beautiful there.
It's ridiculous. It's so great here. Yeah.
Yeah.
So great.
God, good. It's good. I can't wait to come. Rose Kirby says, "So how long to start moving? Will you have a watch party or a house party?" We'll have all sorts of parties. We love to party. We're probably gonna broadcast we've got a party for Crystal's planning something for my 60th birthday, and she was just like, "Well, who do you want me to invite?" Because like some of the neighbors are like, "Oh, we're coming over for Alex's 60th." I think they all think they're going to get me drunk, which
wow,
doesn't happen because I'm not. Alcohol doesn't mix well with me.
Right.
So you have a truck. See, you're so Southern.
I'm so Southern now. Yeah, I got myself a nice 2020 Tundra and love this thing. It's great.
You're set. Yeah. Now, do you have a studio? Is one of those rooms turned into the studio? Where are you broadcasting from right now?
Right now is what will be the studio. It's a basement bedroom thing that we're still building. We're still putting stuff away in the house and putting carpet in and pending. So the studio, it's functional right now, but it's basically a bedroom. It sounds terrible. I got to put all the sound treatment in and build. There's a voiceover booth that we're going to build just so that we can do music and we can do voiceovers and ADR and all that kind of stuff. That's, project 86, 87 out of, the other projects that need to happen for us to get there. So, by the way, for any of you who do cryptocurrency, Bitcoin just touched 12,000 and Ethereum's over 440, just in case you hadn't looked.
Mark's big into that. Mark's
big. I teach and coach people on this stuff. So tonight's we're having a good Friday night for those of us who are in. So
see, and so we're going to close. We're not closing until I think we're going to close in 60 days on Crystal's house, but this house has to close earlier, not September 3rd. We got him to push it off to like the 28th or something. And Crystal's mom bought a house in the same development that Crystal's buying a house in. So she was like, Mom, is it okay if we live with you for 2 weeks before we close on our house? And her mom texts back, sure. And Crystal goes, oh, that's not a good sign. I go, why? I know. And she goes, because I know what I mean when I say sure.
Oh, yeah, right. Yeah.
I was like, yeah, she can suck it up for 2 weeks.
For sure. We had to do the same thing. My wife Leah, had to live with her mom while a friend of mine drove two, and a friend of mine and I drove two 26-foot trucks across the nation to get here. So she lived there for a while, then flew out. So Joe, I'm actually not doing the soundtrack. I did the soundtrack for the trailer, but Alex is doing that. And right now there's no soundtrack being done because we don't do the soundtrack until after we have an edit. But it's a good question. And then Logic, Tennessee is the answer. And that's a good idea, Jim. I should just turn that thing into the General Lee. I have a huge flagpole in my front yard, And yeah, just 2 days ago, I got the American flag, the Tennessee flag, and the war flag. So I'm like thinking just to see if I can get shot
idea.
really fast.
I'll start working on a backup editor just in case.
No, it's not gonna happen. But it was fun just to go, wow, look at this. So anyway.
So where's the best URL to produce? Listen, you can watch either on Facebook or you can watch on our YouTube channel. I think YouTube's the better place to comment. Is my guess. I don't know, but there you go. I hate moving too. I despise it. I mean, look at this room. I mean, I've got to move. This is just, look at this room. Look at all the goods I've got in my comic book collection, right? All the floor's a mess because I'm doing my finances. That's all got to be packed up. And then I got my collecting room downstairs with, my prop and costume collection and my Major Matt Mason collection. And then I got the basement, which is the fulfillment center for Area Studios and the perk fulfillment. So that is the nightmare. That's just like, oh God. And I don't know if I want to move it to the studio and fulfill out of the studio. That may be the best solution.
I agree, Adam. Thank you.
And so I don't know. So yeah, I hate moving, and I'm not looking forward to it at all.
Yeah, Tiffany, I think we should totally get out the dueling banjos. It'll be so awesome.
Yeah, you're gonna have to have Karn's theme. And then Karn versus Garth on dueling banjos.
Be amazing.
I don't know. I don't know about that. There's Paul Osborne. Hey, Paul. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, if you haven't been involved in a lawsuit, you don't understand that a lawsuit that's gone to trial or close to trial. You don't understand the alien anal probe that discovery is. It's like, I want everything that you've ever written that mentions X, whatever the subject matter is. And yeah, it's intrusive, it's invasive, and things. And believe me, these days, I learned my lesson in the CBS lawsuit, and I don't write a lot of things that I would previously write. I pick up the phone and call people because I don't want a written record, when I say certain things. And this is why lawsuits settle. This is why you should not get involved in a lawsuit, because listen, it's a pain in the ass. I just threw away a stack of papers this big, and that's just part of it. I think I've got 2 more binders here that I have to throw away from the lawsuit that was just settled. And that was a 1.5 year long lawsuit, and you don't want to be involved in a lawsuit. I mean, unless you're determined to win, but be real smart about these things because they're just a pain in the ass. Discovery is not fun. Depositions, I have fun in depositions, but I'm good at them. Most people are not, and so it's intimidating. It's a really intimidating process. So why would you want to go through that? Just once again, to quote the great Dalton, played by Patrick Swayze in Roadhouse, be nice. If you can be anything, be nice. Well, mediation is non-binding. So, we had mediation with CBS and Paramount before trial back in 2016, and it was going before a judge. You go before a magistrate judge, and he calls one side in and talks to them, and then he calls another side in and says, well, that side thinks this. And so, and I've told the story before, when we did mediation in the CBS Paramount lawsuit, CBS and Paramount went in first, and we're in with the judge for a half hour, and they come out, and the judge calls us in, and he sits down. He was an old guy, he was like 75 or whatever, and huge office, and he sits down, and Erin and I are there, and he looks at me and he goes, you guys are just too good. That's your problem. He says they don't want you making Star Trek because it looks like their stuff. That's literally what the judge said. which they had said to us. I mean, CBS had said that to us earlier. We knew that was what the problem was. And so, when people say, oh, it's because you were earning profit or you would, no, it's because we were too good.
It looked good.
It still does. I watched. Yeah,
it still holds up. I played it a couple months ago for somebody, and they were like, what is this act? I mean, I've heard about this. I'm like, here, I'll just play it a couple minutes. And they're like, oh, okay, watch it. And they're like, went all the way to the end. And they're like, that was awesome. Like, yeah, that's the problem.
Yeah. And that was so in Prelude, yeah, but mediation gives you a clue as to how things are going. Yeah. I think that's true, Paul. It does. And I think listen, the other yes, it's a financial suck as well, right? Why be involved in a lawsuit? Think of all the money that you spend in a lawsuit and what better things that can be spent on, right? It's a waste of money too. Why spend that money on, in this case, again, I'm paying for the lawsuit. Axanar donors aren't going to pay for this lawsuit because it really, it has nothing to do with that.
What lawsuit are we talking about?
Today we filed a lawsuit against Paul Jenkins.
Oh, I see.
For trade slander per se.
Oh dear.
We can't. He's filed a copyright registration.
Has he really?
Yeah, on the script, which we're fighting. One, because CBS, one of the fan film guidelines is you can't copyright a script.
Right. Now he's in violation of that.
Now he's in violation of that. Now we're telling CBS, hey, look, that's not us. That's them. That's him. Mm-hmm. Not us. But, nonetheless, that's a problem. And so we literally can't litigate any of the copyright issues yet. Right. First of all, they've refused to give us the registration document. And I know. It's like, we know
Discovery's for. Isn't that what Discovery's for?
Well, that's what we're gonna have to wait till Discovery to get the registration document. So we've requested it from, the Copyright Office. Right. But anyway, it's all a waste of time. It's all stupid. It's we gotta do it because we gotta do it. But it's not something I don't want to be spending time. And sometimes that's what it takes, Paul. It also depends on the quality of the lawyer you have. Like, some lawyers don't mind you spending money with them, and some lawyers are like, hey, you don't want to pursue this case because all you're going to do is spend money, and you either settle now or you're going to settle in 6 months, and in 6 months it's going to cost you $50,000 more to settle than it will right now. So anyway, there you go. So that's what we're talking about. Okay. Yes. So and again, I was talking again about what we're going to do, and we've got a shoot here in Atlanta. We don't know, and now of course we're selling the house and moving. That's going to throw a wrench in when we do that shoot. Not a big one because we weren't planning to do it until late September at the earliest. So it may be late October now instead. But once we do that, then we're at least 90 days from shooting in LA. But, having Ted on board is a real plus because we can go to actors and actors are like, oh, okay, that's someone I wouldn't mind performing for. So there you go. By the way, Mark Edward Lewis did all the sound mixing for Prelude to Axanar. So when you hear all those amazing sounds of the starships, it's all Mark.
We had a good time building all that stuff.
Oh, dude, it sounds great. And don't give me that there's no sound in space shit. I don't want to hear it.
Yeah, that's funny. I don't want to hear it. That's good. I like that.
I didn't mean to be funny there. Right?
That was funny.
Yeah. So, are you working on any other film projects?
Am I working on any other film projects? I'm not working on anything right now that isn't related to cinema sound, my coaching clients, or investing at the moment. There's some things that are in the wings. Actually, no, that's not true. I'm still waiting to hear back final approval from, what's his name? They just did a crowdfund. It's the Axanar Prelude to Prelude. What's his name? He did the little short film on your set.
Jonathan Lane.
And his project is called
Interlude.
Interlude. Yeah. So I'm waiting to hear back from him. I mixed it like 3 months ago or 2 months ago. So I'm just waiting to hear back.
Oh yeah. As a matter of fact, we've got a Jamie. Well, I'm going to play that right since you mention it. Thanks for mentioning that. Why don't we watch the little short feature from short scene from Interlude, and then we can talk briefly about.
Oh, I don't even know what mix this is. So I mean, I did a temp mix, and hopefully it's a good one. So
it's a temp mix. Yeah. Here, okay. Let's see. Let me start it. And all right, hold on. I forgot to share the sound.
Bad.
That's not good. So let me do that. Let me do that again. Hold on. We'll move this back to here. And it's opt in for sound. It should be opt out. I don't know why it's opt in. It's crazy. But all right, here we go again.
Helm, hold her steady. We need some distance between us and those battle cruisers.
Trying, sir. Those monsters are fast.
Oh yeah, this is a temp mix.
Damage report.
Shields holding at 60%. Aft torpedoes disabled. Impulse engines damaged, but still operative. We have warp power, but not for long.
Bridge, this is engineering. Garth, what the hell are you doing to my ship?
Alexei, divert all non-essential power to the aft shields. Keep those warp engines intact. Mr. Tanaka's on his way down to assist.
Do the impossible. Aye. Engineering out.
That's not your ship.
All right. So, whoops.
That's actually the first time I've heard the music. I did the mix before there was any music in there, so they've obviously taken my mix, added music illicitly. So.
Well, I just to be fair, I don't think Jonathan really consulted much with Victoria and Josh about that scene, and they were both, I think they were both a little upset that, that stuff that wasn't finished, that didn't have the right polish, was being released.
Yeah.
And I understand Jonathan wants to get something out, and it's great to see and all. Matter of fact, I showed that to Ted this morning, and he was trying to wrap his mind around. There's a fan film of your fan film,
right? Yeah, exactly.
So what? Tell me. So you didn't do any sound or music or mix or anything on that?
I'm guessing what that is my mix and all the sound design that I did. I did a mix, but I didn't have any music. He hadn't written it yet. And so I'm guessing a mix that I did without music, and all the sound effects are in there, and then they just slap music into it. That's what it sounds like to me. I could be wrong. That's streaming pretty awfully here.
Gotcha. All right. So why don't we also watch now the trailer you did do? And
for Axanar?
For Axanar.
Oh yeah, I love that trailer.
Let's watch the Axanar trailer. Here we go. Let me get that. Turn on the chat sound.
Sometimes you look outside and you see a storm coming. And there's nothing you can do to stop it. You're just a witness to whatever's coming your way. But it's never the heart of the storm that matters. It's the heart of the people inside the storm.
Weapons free! Fire at will!
There's that truck.
There you go.
It's a lot. I had a good time with the music, basically taking the Star Trek theme, the Klingon theme, the Axanar theme, and putting them all together. That was fun.
No, it was well done. The music is fantastic. It really is. You really did a great job with that. And that,
Thank you.
I should also point out, so in the interlude, poor Will.
She fire at will.
Oh. So in the interlude trailer, trailer, it's not the trailer, it's a scene, right? So in that scene, I said, I went to Jonathan, I said, Jonathan, that voiceover, that the VO by Jamie Rennell as Leonov, I said, that last piece, it doesn't work for me because one, he sounds like Scotty and his register is too high for the Russian that he's playing. And he says I when he should be saying da, right? He's Russian, And I said, it just really is incongruous to me. I said, I do not like it at all. And I said, I said, I'm good, I said, if you don't mind, I'm going to talk to Victoria. And he said, go ahead, talk to her. He said, I don't think we can change it. But he said, talk to her. And I talked to Victoria and I said, Victoria, look, I don't want to be an ass because it's your movie, but here's some feedback. I'm really not crazy about this. And it's funny because she said, yeah, I didn't really like it either. I said, good. Are you okay with me having Jamie redo it? Because he lives right nearby. And he's a professional voiceover actor. And she said, yeah, go for it if you can get it done. So I talked to Jamie and I was like, Jamie, and I said, this one piece, I said, I really don't like it. I think you sound like Scotty. And he goes, good. I don't like it either. I'm like, no one likes it. Why is it in the, because no one wants to, sometimes I think people don't want to offend. And so, and I'm like, I don't care if I offend you. Here's some constructive criticism. Take it for what it's worth. If we do it in the spirit of cooperation, we're all working towards a better project. So he's redoing it, and he just sent them to me, and I've got to forward them to, I guess, you and to Victoria and Jonathan, so you guys can see what he did. But
beautiful.
So there, you worked with Jamie in the booth, right? You did his stuff for the audio drama.
I'm sure, yeah. We did a whole bunch of people that day.
And you worked with Rob Pralgo?
We did.
Rob's a great guy.
I mean, it was just one person after the next for like 6 hours, 7 hours.
Next.
At Dana's place, yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, I know. Dana Keys, we got to go to Dana's place. I've certainly got a ton of lines there, too.
You've got at least a day and a half for that audio.
Yeah. Which is great. I'm totally excited about it. I'm looking forward to doing that stuff. And I wrote most of it. So actually, So Tiffany says, so this is an interesting point. And this is kind of this is kind of like a movie making point. So it is actually okay to say I. It has nothing to do with language. It's in the Navy, I as opposed to I. Yes, that's perfectly acceptable. The challenge is in that one scene, the way he says it and the way he says everything else, he sounds like Scotty. And so you want to add a little more Russian flavor to the reading. And so you change the I to da, which means yes in Russian, and you get that. That's what you get. Now, I assume, because we're about to listen to it. And that's why. So good point. And it's really kind of a filmmaking thing. It's in a way, it's like, look, in reality, when you look at a Next Generation uniform, the colors, like the blue is actually green. But under those lights that they shot under, it looks blue. Yep. So do you want the reality or do you want what looks good on film? Right? It's part of filmmaking, right? Hey, you know what I want you to tell everyone about? Tell everyone about shooting a Torment of Destiny.
Oh man!
Just start with, assume no one knows anything. What's Torment of Destiny?
What is that?
Maybe I can pull down some. While you're talking, I'm going to see if I can pull down a couple pictures and I'll pop them up.
Well, yeah. I mean, somewhere around here, I've got the whole master. It wasn't too many months after I met Alec Peters that he came to me and he said, "Hey, so listen, have you heard of Star Trek New Voyages?" And I'm like, "Actually, yeah, I worked in the LA shoot for A World Enough in Time with Mark Zicree, who was at the time a good friend of mine. And I did B camera work, and it was great. Got to meet George Takei and all that. So I knew about it." He goes, "You know all about that?" I'm like, "I do, yeah." And he goes, "Well, listen, they're looking for a director for this next episode called Mind Sifter. Would you be interested?" Now, listen, I know for a fact I was the fourth guy they asked. They didn't ask me first. They were just like, "Oh, let's ask these other guys." And they all, for whatever reason, couldn't do it. So they came to me. And I'm like, "Oh, well, maybe Lewis will do it." So I was like, "Yeah, that sounds great." So I met James Cawley, and, it was an incredible shoot of what basically a 3-week shoot in a 10-day bag. And we got it all in the can. I did all the posts, most of the posts. It looked great. Tobias Richter doing some of the most incredible D7 Mark, probably 8 shots that anyone's ever seen, along with some amazing animation. So, but that was after I had also done some post-production for them on getting Katoomba done, because they were just lost in post-production madness. Got that finished. We did Mind Sifter. And then they said, "So listen, we're going to do another one next year." We got this thing called Torment of Destiny. And we'd like you to come back and direct. And Jeff Barklage, my good friend and great DP, he was going to come back too. And we're like, "Oh, this is going to be so great." So the problem with it was that it needed 2 solid weeks of shooting. And we had to move it so that we could get, there's Richard and Becky and Jeff. We had to move it so that we didn't interrupt James's birthday celebration. So, because he wanted to do a big thing, and I'm like, we can't take a day off in a 2-week schedule to do birthday. So we fixed it so that it worked out. But the issue, and the writer wrote this really, really amazing script based on the original series episode. I don't know, is it series? Is it season 3?
For the world is hollow and I've touched the sky.
Yeah, is it season 3? I can't remember.
Pretty sure it's season 3.
Season 3, and McCoy falls in love, gets terminally ill, leaves Starfleet, and falls in love with Queen Natira. Okay, great. So we created a sequel, which really wrote it, and I really loved it. But they needed a bad guy. They needed a super, super bad guy. And I'd known Richard Hatch for years. And actually, Richard introduced me to Alec, as we've talked about before. So, and I had never worked with Richard before. All we did is get together about every 3 months and talk about women and beer and the world. We never worked together. So I finally came to him and I was like, "So Richard, there's this thing." He's like, "Well, send me the script." I sent him the script. He's like, "This is great. Let's do it." And of course, James is thrilled. He's like, "Richard Hatch. Wow. Okay, let's do this." So we get to set, and if you've ever done an amateur production, there are things that just get dropped out. And with Jeff there as a great professional DP, and me with experience, and some professional actors that were there, Brian Gross and Brandon Stacy, and guys that knew what they were doing. It helps to kind of move things forward. Plus, I'd been there the year before, so we'd had a great education on how we do production and scheduling, and they had never actually done a shot list that they kept to. And on Mind Sifter, we made a big board on the wall and said, "This is our shot list." And bro, spent a day drawing and everything out. And everybody come to me and like, "What's the next shot?" I'm like, "Look at the board." And I'm like, "Oh, the board, right." So things went smoothly. But we got there and we didn't have any locations. James hadn't worked out any locations, not one.
And this is the biggest problem with New Voyages. No planning. Nothing. Yeah. Everything was last minute. No one. It was just whatever.
What made it compounded difficult was that Jeff Barklage was on another shoot, and for the first week of photography, he wasn't there.
Oh,
so
wow.
So we had to take, and we didn't have his camera. We had a Red Epic.
For Torment of Destiny.
We had a Red Epic, which is a great camera, but doesn't have the same. But anyway, not the same thing. So we were working to try to get all these shots in at this, and there's still a deep schedule. Very, very difficult. We had just about everybody walk off the set one way or another and say, "We're out of here." Including some of the most calm people that you can imagine, the nicest, calmest people. I'm like, "We're out of here." And it just was it was the polar experience from what we had on Mind Sifter. And Richard showed up on the last 4 days of shooting because of his schedule. And we only needed him for those 4 days to get his stuff in. And but once Richard showed up, I mean, everything, because he's so gracious. I talk like he's still here. He's so gracious. He's so like, oh, how are you? And nobody was a bigger nerd than Richard Hatch. He loves sci-fi more than anybody. He just didn't, make his career out of sci-fi. That was his passion. And nobody loved sci-fi fans more than Richard Hatch. He was so generous. True. And everybody would come up to him, and they were kind of afraid. We told everybody, I said, don't you approach Richard Hatch. You leave him alone. So they were all like this, and he's like, no, come over here, and I'll sign whatever you want. And, stuff that he could have been charging hundreds and hundreds of dollars for at a show. He was so generous. And the only time that we had an issue with Richard was because we had the right way to say this is that the set had been painted, oh my gosh, I can't even remember the name of the god. His name, the big god in that episode's name is well, anyway, the place for the big computer, we all know it's a computer. It's not a god, it's a computer.
Right.
That temple there, they painted the wrong color. They painted how it was on the exterior before you get in, which is a gray, but inside it's like a tanny gold. So they painted the whole set wrong. And Jeff Barklage got there and was like, dude, if we shoot this, everything's going to look white. It won't even be any color. And so there was this big argument. I mean, it was intense. And if Jeff Barklage wins, because everybody wants Jeff Barklage to be happy, and so fortunately, I didn't have to go to bat much. He went to bat, and everybody's like, whatever Jeff Barklage says. So, but Richard Hatch was extremely allergic to latex fumes. Oh. And we had to repaint the set, and that was his set. So we got in there and we're like, listen, why don't we just take Richard out to this coffee shop that was down the street? And for 4 hours, they painted the set while we rehearsed everything that he was in. And it was so great. We're in this coffee shop. It's like a dream team. You've got Jeff, not Jeff Barklage, Jeff, sorry, my brain. I'm having Tennessee brains. McCoy, his name is Jeff
Bond.
Thank you. Jeff Bond and Brandon Stacy and Brian and Becky and everybody else. And then Richard Hatch and this, kind of the A team. And we're just going through scene after scene and working on stuff, having the greatest time, so that when we actually went to shoot, it was like clockwork. We nailed stuff, and it's beautiful. And we got it almost all in the can, except for a couple of little pickup things. It's no big deal. So then next on the production schedule was Holiest Thing, because it was languishing in post-production hell, and they knew that I could get it out of that and fix it up. But I was like, well, we should finish Torment of Destiny, because we promised, and Richard and the staff and donors, and they were like, well, no, we want to get Torment of Destiny down, because that was also in the crowdfund. I'm like, all right. So we spent all this effort to remake and recut, and we had to shoot in LA, and we got all that done with Brian and JC, and reshot the end. I mean, it's a much better ending, I thought. Tobias did more graphics. Pony did a whole bunch more stuff. It looks much better than it was languishing in the post. And we got it done. We released it, and then they released the old one anyway. So I was really upset myself, and I was like, why did we waste all this time to do this exactly? And right about then is when the rules came out, the Star Trek rules. And that's when James said, basically, all right, no more production. We're not doing this anymore. And Tobias, got very nervous, because he's like, man, I don't want to get involved in any of this, because it's my livelihood at stake. And Pony, our visual effects guy, and a bunch of our visual effects people are like, we can't work on this right now. And the only thing that Torment of Destiny needed was visual effects. I mean, I have a pickup shot with Jeff Bond where I just need him with his hand with a tricorder. That's honestly all I need. I can pick it up with my phone. So at his house, although I'm in Tennessee now. But anyway, it would be easy to do. So everything is ready. There's a cut. It's an approved cut. I'd fix it again now that I see it again. But it's just the visual effects and the sound. Unfortunately, it can't be done, because James won't allow it. And unless James allows it, the visual effects people won't do any of the work. So we're kind of stuck releasing what is one of Richard Hatch's last great performances, because he's really good at it. I mean, he loves playing bad guys. That's his thing now. He just loves being the bad guy. And he's a very bad dude in this thing. Does some bad things. He put Jeff Bond on the ground more than once. I mean, actually pushed him down, just rolling on the ground. I'm like, so Richard, on the next take, let's just take it a little more easy. He goes, oh, yeah. Down he goes again. because Richard, he was in his 70s, but he probably outweighed Jeff by about 60 pounds.
Right.
So, it's like a rag doll. And Jeff, of course, having the time of his life, is like, Richard Hatch is pushing me around. Oh. So, he's like, it's my childhood dream. It was so awesome. I'm like, Jeff, are you okay? He's like, oh, no, it's great. Let's do it again. So it was a time of our lives. It was just an unreal, surreal experience to have Richard Hatch on the sets of the Enterprise, walking around. And it's I think if it were to ever be completed, I think it would be, if not the best Star Trek New Voyages episode, one of the best around, because it's just so lovely.
Such a shame.
Yeah.
Such a shame. Well, we're at the end of our time, and I'm going to leave talking about Blade of Honor to this week, because we're going to do a special Blade of Honor event. Now, this week, and I think, let me just check on, make sure I have it. This week on the 19th, we're doing the Long Dig, special on the Long Dig, which is a science fiction project that one of my friends and his team from LA did. The guys who did Personal Space. Do you remember Personal Space?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
So Tom, I started talking to Tom again, and so we're going to do a special show that and meet with the team on this Wednesday. And so we're going to start doing a regular Wednesday event like this. So a week from this Wednesday, the 26th, we will do Blade of Honor. And
right, I'll change that.
It's going to be great because Mark has 2 cuts of Blade of Honor. They're both about 26 minutes long?
Yeah.
So we are literally going to watch 2 versions of it. And then Mark wants your opinion as to which version you like better.
Now, the good news is the only thing that's different between them is the first 4 minutes. The rest of it's the same. So
we can just watch the first one and then watch the first 4 minutes of the second one.
Yeah.
We'll do that. That makes more sense. You didn't tell me that. That's good.
Yeah, a little easier. So that's the 26th on Wednesday?
That is Wednesday the 26th. Yes, indeed.
Okay. I'm putting that down.
That will be at 10 o'clock at night.
9 o'clock my time.
Yes. So let me all right. Put that down there. Not at 9 a.m., 10 p.m.
Ethereum's still holding at 440 and Bitcoin is now at 11.9, just so you guys know.
All right.
And yeah, it's easier to fix things on set than it is to try to fix them in post, by the way, sound-wise. If you can get a good recording, it solves everything. If you got a bad recording, you're going to spend time and money in post fixing it. I have a whole website devoted to how to fix audio called cinemasound.com. Go check it out. I mean, you're like, oh, I'll just push a button. Yeah, we're not there yet.
Oh, good luck on that. So, all right, guys. Well, thank you so much, Mark. Thank you. We'll see you again in 2 weeks.
Yes,
I'm sure we'll talk in the meantime. For everyone else out there, thank you so much. We next Friday night on Axanar Confidential, we have our new director, Ted Brunetti, will be here. So please join us because Ted's awesome, and we'll have news on what's happening. In the meantime, I'm going to go to Home Depot and get a ton of boxes and start packing because we don't want to wait till the last second. And we're getting one of those pods. It's going to be put in the driveway.
Nice.
And we're just going to start filling that thing up. And then I want nothing in this house for the movers to move except for the furniture. That's it. So, right. All right. Everyone, thank you so much.
Thanks, everybody.
My friend Mark, live long and prosper. Good luck on your Bitcoin, whatever you're doing.
Yes, sir.
And I'll have to sit on one of your things, and you can learn me some stuff.
Yeah, and you're all welcome. Actually, I do a show at 8 p.m. Pacific, 10% Central Pacific, 10 p.m. Central. You know what I mean? 8 p.m. Pacific. Specifically talking about trading options, and sometimes we talk crypto. And how to make 1% on your investment every day. Just think about that. Think about making 1% every day, and in a month, how much money you'd have. And then in a month after that.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm training people to do, because everybody, people are losing their jobs. So there's no money.
Yeah.
But they're never going to turn the markets off.
That's
ever.
right. Yeah.
I mean, when Rome was burning, they were still trading cattle in the streets. So
when do you do it? You do it at 8 p.m. Pacific. So that's 11 p.m. Eastern.
Mhm.
Every night.
It's an hour. No, Tuesday nights. It's an
Tuesday
hour.
nights.
Yeah, and it's if you're interested, hit me up on Facebook, and I'll get you the link to get into the Facebook page. There's a Zoom also, which you can join if you want. It's free, and I want to make. If I had it all my way, everybody would be doing this, making 1%
I'm
a day.
in for Tuesday. I'm definitely in for Tuesday. I want to see, because as I'm selling the house, I'm liquid, so I can take a little money from that and try this out. And
your minimum is about $2,000. You could do it less than that; it just gets hard. $2,000, kind of the bottom, and then up from there.
Good. Maybe that's another way we can finance Axanar.
At 1%, imagine if you had 10 people doing 1% a day for Axanar.
Yeah, huh?
Think about that. With that, I have to go help my wife with some boxes.
You go do that. We will see everyone here next week, Friday night, Axanar Confidential. For Axanar Confidential number 75 with Ted Brunetti. That is going to be a good show. We want to thank everyone. Thank you for coming out. We will see you next week. We'll be here tomorrow night, 10 o'clock for Starfleet Tactical, talking space combat. And then next week, Axanar Confidential number 75 with Ted Brunetti. Okay, thank you to Lisa, our producer. Thank you to all our fans and donors out there. We will see you next time here on Axanar Confidential. Be well.